We have to save St. Louis.
No, you don't, and you can't. I'm not saying no one can, but specifically you can't. Because I've heard how you describe these cities and how you see properties like this one and you're like, oh, it's a war zone, it's terrible. They can't even take care of their own properties. But in reality, this property is owned by Northside Regeneration LLC, which is owned by a man named Paul McKee. What you need to reduce crime rates is basic human needs being met. Access to food, access to shelter, and access to a sense of community. But when you have millionaire land prospectors buying up all the affordable homes and abandoning them, that decreases access to shelter. This area happens to also be a food desert. And you might be thinking, how could it be a food desert? You're sitting in front of a grocery store. It's an empty grocery store. This grocery store was built by a company owned by Paul McKee. Same guy. And just like the homes he owns, there's nothing inside. You might be thinking, well, at least he built something, but he used something called a TIF and other tax incentives to make it so that he's not spending his own money to build the grocery store. He's using our money, the taxpayer money. Specifically, the people who live around here, the property taxes go to buy him a grocery store instead of fixing our roads or creating community spaces. But when you look on a map, you see, oh, there's a grocery store right there. This isn't a food desert, but at least the community can get access to healthcare at this little hospital. I'm just kidding. I'm sure you've guessed by now that this is an empty hospital. No one works there. There are no doctors, and it's owned by Paul McKee. And you might be thinking, hey, aren't there laws to prevent people from doing stuff like this? Yeah, there are. But if you're making millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars in tax breaks, then paying $20,000 in fines per year is no big deal. Land prospectors intentionally destroy neighborhoods all the time. But it's crazy how one guy can block access to affordable housing, infrastructure for communities, food, healthcare, everything that a community needs to thrive. Those are all factors that lead to increased crime rates, and things like this are happening in cities all across America. The men like Paul McKee that are doing this have a lot more in common with our president, the real estate tycoon, than they do with you and me. And so when he says he's going to save St. Louis, what's he going to do? Send the National Guard to do what? Are they going to do community building activities? Are they going to do after school programming for kids? No, they're going to come harass and arrest unhoused people. The National Guard isn't going to go knocking on Paul McKee's door. So what I would say to Donald Trump is that the cities don't need you to save them. The cities need people like you to leave them alone, so that they can build community.